Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Jayesh.
Today it is taking quite some time to join.
Sometimes it happens like that.
I have been trying for the last 5-7 minutes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. We would like to wholeheartedly welcome each one of you for the 113th session of the Deccan Positive Mental Health Groups session. And this is on behalf of the different organizers, Manasa Shubhakara Mindcare Hyderabad, Yellow Pond Counseling Center India, Forest Creative Arts Studio Punjab, Sri Deepthi Counseling Center Hyderabad, Clover Learning Center Hyderabad, Srisha Counseling Center Kozhikode, and the Mindstyle Hub of Calcutta. I would like to welcome our honorable person, Mrs. Arundhati ma'am, who's a counselor, and she will be speaking on the topic, the mask we wear. Apart from being a trained counselor, she has varied interests. She's very passionate about psychology and art, love forging deep and meaningful relationships. And she's been in the field of psychotherapy since 2013. And with that very, very short introduction to our honorable resource person, I would like to extend a very, very warm welcome to you once again, ma'am. The floor is yours. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you so much once again.
Anita. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for having me here in this forum. And this topic, the mask that we wear, is very, very dear to me. And if we are, very observant, we can notice these things very easily. So let me dive into the topic and let me share my screen and hope that you all find it useful. 1 second. Sorry, just a minute, please. Okay, 1 minute. So these are the masks. This slide represents the various masks.
The slide is not visible.
Or not visible?
It came for a second and again it disappeared.
Okay. 1 second, just a minute, please. Is it visible now?
Now it is visible.
Okay, thank you so much. So here is the representation of various masks that we wear in our daily lives. So, and why do we wear these masks? And what do we mean by these masks, first of all? What does wearing masks mean? It is a representation, or meaning a person who is either knowingly or unknowingly not revealing their true self, personality, feelings, and often changes to a different persona to suit a particular situation. So, why do we wear these masks? These generally are very strongly influenced by the kind of experiences, the kind of backgrounds we come from, the environment, the religious bent of mind, a sort of experiences we have from our childhood, or when we have authoritarian parents or adults in one's life. And if we have ever faced rejection in our lives, and if you have ever been emotionally, physically, or sexually abused, and we have the pressure to adopt, pressure to cope also. Sometimes we need to impress, we do this to impress others and sometimes not to offend others. And we learn along the way that We need to disguise certain emotions that are considered inappropriate in our day-to-day dealings. We might go through some anger, some jealousy, some anxiety, some shame. These are the things that we would like to mask generally because we were afraid that we may not be accepted in our day-to-day lives as we are. So these are the general causes for wearing masks. So mask, what does it actually mask mean? That we are camouflaging our real or authentic selves, which we would not like to show it to others so that we can be part of the group. Masking is interconnected with maintaining behaviors within social structures and cultures. You can see the representation in the picture here that we are interconnected with each and every person, and there's so many links that we need to maintain in our day-to-day lives. And how do we learn to mask? So we adopt certain behaviors. We also know them as masks that help us to survive and thrive. We learn these patterns in many ways. How do we learn this? By adopting to the rules or beliefs of our cultures, families, friends, and peers, then modeling the behavior of significant people and role models through education, personal experiences, and so on. So we mask our real selves. How do we mask? Through words, through actions, through expressions. And suppose we're feeling a certain sadness. When we were actually being trained in our course, there used to be a peer of mine, who always, whatever situation she was narrating, she would always have a smile on her face, however sad the situation she may be talking about. And it so happened that our trainer actually pointed out, may I know why you're smiling? Is there something smile worthy in what you're talking about? And suddenly you could see the entire mask fell off her face. And these are the things, that we try to camouflage, what we would not like to show to others. So then what exactly, why do we need to do this? There are certain benefits of masking. It makes us feel safe. We don't feel safe to reveal our true emotions, true identity sometimes to everybody. Only a trusted few where you feel very comfortable in showing our true selves and maybe sharing where we are not being judged or criticized. When we are in a very safe environment, we may be able to do so, but generally we don't feel safe. That's why we feel like consciously or unconsciously we do mask our real or true self. So there is no loss of mental energy, as little conscious thought is required, because these behaviors are learned, or we just generally go with the flow, and we don't even realize that we are masking our true selves. So little conscious thought is required to apply them. So help us to gain approval from others. Being liked or included brings sense of belonging, then helps us avoid conflicts. We can avoid aggression from others and from self also. Part of our identity in terms of how we see ourselves and how others see us. Protect us from getting hurt, keep us from hurting others. So these are all the benefits of masking. Patterns enable us to interact harmoniously and be respectful for others. Now, while there are certain benefits we reap by masking our true emotions in certain social setups, there are also burnouts of masking. So patterns are acquired over time rather than consciously chosen. They are not chosen consciously, but along the way, as we are growing up, depending on our experiences, we acquire these patterns. For example, we have a very authoritarian parent or a very ambitious parent who has high expectations of what their child should perform. So nothing less than 90% or nothing less than 95%. So the child is always anxious to please his or her parent. So they camouflage, they try to be an overachiever, even if they have the capacity or not having the capacity. So the child is subjected to anxiety, but yet the child cannot show the anxiety, but tries very hard to perform all the time. And, they try to reach beyond their capacity. In that sense, burnouts can happen for the child. There could be a breakdown. They could be, it can show in various ways that the child can become dysfunctional. So negatively impacts our sense of authentic self and can ultimately affect mental health. So that is one example of a burnout situation. It can happen to any adult who is trying to, over time. For example, you take a person in a, hospitality industry. No matter how his mental state is, whether he had a fight with someone, whether he is unhappy in his personal life, but when he comes to perform his job, he has to wear a smile and always be available to the beck and call of his customers. In that sense, what happens to that person over time if he is not able to cope up with this kind of pressure of smiling and being polite and being, available to all to perform in his best manner? So there will be a burnout if he continues to remain, if he is not able to perform the way he is expected to. So this is another example of having a burnout. So it generates feelings of resentment, unhappiness, or lack of fulfillment. Then it can also have low energy, as we may not feel motivated enough to continue to perform the way we are as of now. Then loss of self-respect or low self-esteem, as we are being not authentic about who we actually are. Constant internal struggle. This is something. So this is something when we are not in tandem with who we are trying to be projecting ourselves as a different person, and our values and beliefs are always not in line with who we actually are. And everyday routine, when we are meeting some people or our jobs are different from what we believe in, there can be a constant internal struggle and leading to burnouts of masking. So over time, masking requires a lot of effort, leads to burnout and exhaustion. Now, what are the types of personality masks? There are many masks. Here are a few I would like to, present to you all. There can be masks. Each person can give them a different name depending on what is happening in their lives. But here are a few very, very common ones. Types of personality masks. I'm going to cover the victim/martyr mask elaborately, which can more or less be applied to any other mask that I will be showing ahead in the slideshow. So here is the victim-martyr mask. What exactly are these victim and martyr masks? The victims and martyrs are kind of interconnected. And how are they interconnected? Victims are people who are being taken advantage, okay, but are unaware that they are being in that situation. Once they become aware and exercise their choice to remain in that situation, they, at this point, when knowingly they cannot or they don't want to they want to maintain a status quo and they continue to be in a certain situation, they become martyrs. So here are the comparisons between victims and martyrs. So first of all, their rights, both their rights, victims and martyrs' rights are violated by people who are very close to them, or generally the people who are actually very close to them have the power to manipulate us, or overpower us, or take advantage of us. Victims do not choose their problems. Martyrs remain to be in the same situation, problem situations. Then the victim lacks insight into what created the problem. Could be one of the factors, could be his or her own personality that is contributing to that problem, which the victim may not be aware of. And here, when you talk about the martyrs, often has an insight of what could be the exact element in his or her personality or the situation, what is causing the present situation, but continues to make a choice to remain in that particular situation, then he becomes a martyr. He or she becomes a martyr. Then, victim, once he is aware of what is the problem, he or she would like to take action for changing the situation. It may require a lot of courage. It might require a lot of insight. He really takes ownership to change his present situation. Then martyr exercises choice to remain and become part of the problem. At this juncture, he is not able to seek probably any help immediately. Then victim wants a quick solution, continues the problem, the martyr continues the problem and blocks all solutions. And victim always is open to ideas to solve his problem, whereas the martyr has, yes, but if martyr requests someone to provide solutions or approaches someone to provide solutions, for any ideas that are put across, they will say yes, but. So that attitude towards all ideas, and they are close to any solutions, to adopt any solutions. So victims will seek out help and probably provide solutions they follow through the advices of the solutions that are provided to them, whereas the martyrs are close to all solutions. So they remain in the same situation and suffer quietly, or maybe we don't know what exactly might happen to them if they continue to be in the same situation. Now, what exactly makes martyrs? What are the obstacles faced by martyrs in finding solutions to their challenging situations? Some of the things are irrational beliefs or self-defeating beliefs that they might.
The slides are not moving.
Yeah, I'm still in the same thing.
Okay.
I'm giving an explanation to this. So I'm going to cover this particular slide in a lot of detail, because it can be applied to other kinds of mass as well. Okay. So the irrational beliefs and self-defeating beliefs are the main causes, some of the causes that martyr is unable to move out of the situation or change the situation to stop the kind of challenging situation or the suffering that he or she is facing in that particular situation. So what are those irrational beliefs? So you must be nice to everyone. This is some of the beliefs that they have. This is the way things are and are meant to be. we should never complain. There are winners and losers. I'm meant to be a loser. It's my job to uphold family values and be an example. It is what it is. All is well with me. Remember the Three Idiots movie where the person just pats his chest and says, all is well, all is well. We must put up a brave front, no matter what. These are self-defeating and irrational kind of beliefs that may hold them in, they will continue to be in the same situation. And another thing is, they do not stand up for their rights because of irrational fears. And what are the, one is irrational beliefs, the other is irrational fears. So what are the fears that they may be holding? One is a disapproval, could be disapproval from the near and dear. Okay. Another thing is a conflict. They may not like being in conflicting situations, so they accept whatever it is and they continue to be. Another is fear of rejection. They don't want to be rejected and they don't want to take risk. They don't know if they take a step to get out of the situation, what could be, for example, a lady who's may not be financially independent. If she is in a very abusive relationship and she wants to get out of the situation, but she doesn't know where to go. She doesn't know where to approach. Whom to approach. So for her, being in the same situation may be, more acceptable than taking the risk of getting out of the situation. So that is a fear of taking that risk. Then fear of the unknown. Then fear of change as well. Then confrontation. Loss of self-respect, self-esteem in abusive relationships. Being overwhelmed physically and emotionally. So if the person is really abused, physically and emotionally, their self-esteem automatically becomes low because they're not able to take charge of the situation. Then they fear making mistakes. So these are all the fears, and fears can be very person-specific. Then we have martyrs often are caught up in their problems that they convince themselves there is no solution to their problems. Get used to the abuse and can't visualize their life any differently. And they have martyr models in their own families. Maybe they have seen their mothers, fathers, or anybody else, maybe aunts, uncle, being in that situation and, bearing with that kind of challenges quietly, and they have these role models, and they feel that they should adjust to any situation, and adjusting is the only way. Do not know how to assert themselves, may be extremely passive, exhaust all their helpers as none of their. So when they keep seeking advice from all their supporters and they do not follow through, what happens to the helpers' attitude towards them? They will slowly kind of desert them and say, okay, whatever solutions we may give them, it is not to their liking and they will not follow. So what is the point? So let's quietly move away. So they probably become isolated as well over a period of time. So this is the martyrs and victims mask that many people might wear knowingly or unknowingly. So let's go to the next slide, which is the bully, mask of a bully. So I would like to ask all our participants, have they ever been in a situation where they were bullied?
Yes.
Yeah. Would anybody like to share their experience?
Sure. I'm a medical doctor from the USA.
Okay.
And here, That is a,
I know your
I
name,
was
sir. I'm not
Dr.
able to see the slides.
Oh, okay, Dr. Venugopal Reddy.
Oh, okay. Thank
And
you.
you know that it is a fact that is racism or all those things are here prevalent. And in the hospital where I worked, I was bullied by my supervisor. Right. That is in many ways by being hostile towards me, for speaking up in the meetings or sharing my thoughts. That is, I was issued memo and warning and taken action also against me. All those things. I was subjected to bullying, but I didn't give up. I fought legally and I won. I won all my legal
Wonderful,
battles.
wonderful. So what were your feelings when you're being bullied, and what made you actually stand up for your rights?
Because all along, for the past more than 38 years, I have been giving talks and conducting seminars on life skills. One of that one is about the assertiveness. Okay. I was very assertive. I didn't become passive. The bullies expect the other person to be passive. I was not passive. That is how I was able to manage.
Wonderful, wonderful. So you had given the bully a handful.
Sure.
Congratulations on that. So what happens if they're not able to stand up for themselves? Can anybody give an example on that? Their own person.
Okay, here also I would like to share something. That is some of my co-workers, doctors again from India, when they were also bullied by the very same supervisor, they resigned and they ran and took up jobs somewhere else. That is what happened. They couldn't take that one.
Okay, great. So what happens? If we are being bullied, we are being forced, threatened, abused, dominated, intimidated, and it is repetitive. Reasons. So I'm happy that you are able to stand up for yourself and take on the bully. Have you ever been in a situation of being okay, we'll proceed. It's okay. It's just a food for thought. No problem. So if we are seen by the bully or by others as someone having an imbalance of physical power of society or social entity. So when somebody sees us as someone lower than themselves or the strata in the society or less powerful, or our own personalities can, when we don't project a powerful personality, we can be bullied. So it's important that we stand up like Dr. Venugopal Reddy ji. It's important that we stand up to the bully and face them so that they are chased away. So the bullying is willfully intended towards a certain individuals or a group of individuals to gain power over them. So what kinds of bullies are there? What kinds of bullying are there? So something can be, it just went off to the next slide, but we are still in the bullying part. So what kind of types of bullying are there? There is psychological or emotional, withholding emotional support, any sort of threats that makes a person feel unsafe and makes them feel small, breaking the trust and lying also. So this is the kind of psychological or emotional bullying that can happen. Then we have verbal. So harassing, labeling, insulting, making fun of someone, threatening body gestures, spreading rumors or lying about someone. This is the way bullying usually starts and may escalate to physical bullying. And we have physical bullying, actually physically hurting someone, damaging even their personal belongings or even properties. All this come under physical bullying. Then we have relational or social aggression, intended to tarnish someone's reputation or social standing, social ostracization. So all these come into social aggression. And we have nowadays very popular cyberbullying is the use of technology to harass, threaten, embarrass, or target another person through social media or even, you know, different ways of putting down someone else. Then we have something called collective bullying. Collective bullying tactics are employed by more than one individual against a victim or victims. So collective bullying is known as mobbing and can include any of the individual types of bullying. So now we come to humor mask. What is this humor mask? We often hide our pain in humor with the hope that the hurt.
Wearing mask नहीं ये सुनो क्या वो बंद कर दो जी यार.
So we hide behind the mask called humor. So what is this? A sincere humor connects. What happens when the humor is very sincere? It connects people and creates positive energy. But when humor is taken up as a mask, it can disconnect people from each other and even from oneself, because we are not ready to acknowledge our own feelings that are deep down hurting us. So we put on to show to the outside world the mask of a humor. So it holds one from experiencing authentic feelings of pain, distress, fear, or anxiety. Using this mask for a prolonged period generates negative energy and becomes burdensome. So now we have the mask of an overachiever. What is happening here? Overachieving definitely leads to success, but often at the risks of one's own mental health. So what are the traits of overachievers? They have value, they value perfection, are very ambitious, very driven, and they're hard on themselves. They cannot accept anything less from themselves. They always want to be number one, or climb the ladder of success. And what do they fear? They fear failure. Then high need for control over themselves and control over people around them. So probable causes of could there be any probable causes of childhood trauma? Could be because they were told that if you're not number one, you're nothing. So maybe very ambitious parents, like I was talking about. And so have anybody experienced, feared this kind of, do you know anyone in your life who is an overachiever? Anyone from the participants? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. My father and my uncle.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. It's
Yeah,
audible.
you have. Okay. So were they very happy with themselves? People are happy with them? And what kind of stresses they might have faced? Were you aware of these things?
Like, I don't know what motivated them in the past, but they believe that achieving is the only way we can get respect or value from society.
Okay. So that
We have to be continuously being successful is important till death.
Okay. So that must have been their value system that were, dinned into them from their childhood. So that is what they value overachieving. I mean, achieving basically. But when do you actually term it as overachieving? When it is actually burdening them when they are actually fearing the failure. If at all failure happens, they're not able to take it. So that is when, you know, they struggle in their lives. So let's go to the next slide. Now, this is self-bashing mask. So the picture speaks for itself that the man is punching himself. So talking about oneself is a self-defense mechanism. Talking down, matlab putting yourself down against criticism or low esteem. So even before they fear criticism or anything being judged from someone else outside of themselves. So even before anybody can actually do it to them, they start putting themselves down, or they criticize themselves. They are very hard on themselves. So this is what happens when self-bashing mask is put on. So whatever be their capabilities, they might be aware of it, but they lack self-esteem and they fear being criticized. So they will not value themselves.
I have one doubt.
Yes, sir.
Is it the self-deprecating jokes?
Yeah,
Some people, is it some kind of a this self-bashing
yeah,
mask?
yeah. They do it so that, you know, they fear being recognized.
So it
I
is some
mean,
kind of
in
a humor
whatever
mask.
way.
That self-deprecating jokes is a humor mask, and it is a self-bashing mask.
True, true.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And we have now the controlling mask. What is this controlling mask all about? This personality tries to feel secure by controlling everything around them. Now sometimes we have to play the role of a controlling person. Sometimes we are controlled also. So it works both ways. Some amount of control is required, self-control and control from outside of us. But too much of it, again, when we are not able to, you know, express ourselves, when we are not able to proceed in the way that we would like to take our life, for some person who is more authoritative and who's trying to put us down all the time, that is when the problems start occurring and relationships may just break down. So we have this personality tries to feel secure by controlling everything around them. Their house and workspaces are very clean and well organized, and they cannot probably like anything being disturbed. Everything has to be in its place, and tolerance may be very limited. So they value also punctuality, constantly managing people around them. It is important that everybody stays in line so that they avoid chaos. They don't like any chaos in their life. They value stability and dislike chaos, hence they control everything around them, including the actions of others. So that is when, if they are being controlled by someone else, more authoritative than them, probably they will be more empathetic.
I just have one clarification I need.
Yes, sir.
The OCD personalities and the narcissistic personalities,
Yes.
they have some of these controlling. They were the controlling mask. That is what I think.
Yes. These are all labels, but when we are actually experiencing a certain difficult or challenging situation of being controlled, you know, when we are not able to express our feelings or not able to even take simple decisions, if we have to seek permissions from different people, that's when we start falling apart. So let's go to the next slide.
Ma'am, I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Just now I heard you saying that such people, if they find somebody more authoritative,
Yes.
they may become empathetic.
Yes.
But there is a possibility of their turning a rebel also.
Yes, true. I mean, you don't know. It all depends on if they are very aggressive people and you are not
Yes.
able to take that control, they can become aggressive. But they can also be maybe this is what I'm doing to others. So when somebody else is doing to me, probably my eyes will open and say, "Oh my God, this is how I've been behaving. Maybe I need to look into how I need to behave." So it can go either way. It all
Such
depends
people
on.
develop a lot of resentment, question the authority, and they find it difficult to manage themselves within the existing system.
Mhm.
Not only do they become a rebel, maybe perhaps they may make others also to turn against the authority. Such kind of possibilities are always there.
Yes.
And
See-
I agree with Subbarao-ji, that his observation.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Can we go to the next slide, please? There's so
Yeah.
many possibilities, as many number of people there are. We never know how people react and respond to a certain situation. So I'm just giving general outline of this mask. So we go to the next slide called the people-pleasing mask. So this attitude stems from a childhood filled with sense of shame that they are not important. Could be. I'm not saying it has to be, but could be. They feel that they are not worthy enough and it's a waste of space to be on this planet. They thrive on the praise and approval of others to feel their own sense of self-worth. They will do and overdo to ensure that they matter to this world. So what happens? They continue, they will overreach in pleasing others, even though it may not actually be possible for them. They will go out of the way to help and be there for any kind of situation that they may be of some help. So we need to ask ourselves, why are we doing this? Do you really think you can keep up with this, continue to help out others, reach out, as long as we feel energetic, as long as we are able to perform in a way that people are happy with us, it's fine. But for some odd reason that maybe we are unwell, maybe we are very old to continue our kind of behavior of pleasing people, then we are very unhappy with ourselves because we are not able to continue this wearing this mask and gain the pleasure or that people around us are very happy with us. So this is what happens when we are unable to perform the way we would like to. At some point, we need to stop wearing this mask as it will wear us out mentally and physically. We need to take off the mask of the people pleaser, heal our wounds, and let go of the belief that we are unimportant. So, what is the message that we need to give ourselves is that we truly, when we are unable to perform, and first we need to be very introspective as to why exactly we are wanting to do this. And if you are able to hit upon, maybe with our own introspection or with the help of a therapist or a counselor or maybe a very good friend whom you can trust, if you are able to come to a conclusion of why we are overreaching to help out people, and only that makes us feel happy, then it's good that we look into ourselves and try to find solutions. So we need to validate before others validate us. We need to validate our own existence and stop seeking the approval from others before we run into the danger of losing our true selves. So it is good if you're able to help out. It's very happily, and if you're able to make people around you happy, that kind of bounces off us and we are also happy. But what is happening when we are not able to do is where we need to actually stop ourselves and question ourselves and take stock of what is happening within us. So do we continue to wear this mask or do we shed this? Or sometimes we wear it and sometimes we are not able to do it. we can actually shed this mask and maybe be very authentic and say we are unable to do sorry about it. So that's what it is. So let's go to the next slide, which is a socializer mask. If we wear the if we are wearing the socializer mask, you will use your ability to talk with everyone to mask your insecurity. But you may have many acquaintances, but may not have deep relationship because you fear allowing people to come too close to you for what they might discover within you, or have meaningful conversations, or the moment you sense that a person is trying to come very close to you, you might just move away from that kind of person. You're happy in a group of people and not so when somebody is trying to become too close to you. So that is the socializer mask. So now we have this picture I just love because you see the footprints going and the conformist mask. So we do not want to move away from what is already a set routine, maybe by families, maybe by society, maybe by our own friends. So it is, you're happy as long as you're following this particular pattern that people have already followed. So why are you happy in this? If you wear the conformist mask, you seek to follow what everyone else around you is doing. You are desperate for acceptance and will follow cues from others in social groups you want to belong to. So it brings a kind of sense of belonging, and you won't feel threatened because you're already in a very safe zone. So only a person who does not, when he wants to shed this mask, is when he or she wants to shed this mask, he will attract maybe criticism, maybe challenges. So as an example, I can give Maharaj movie of Amir Khan's son, where he tries to break the conformist traditions of sending women to the Maharaj. So when he tries to break this religious practice, that is when he attracts all wrath to himself, and he faces many challenges. So a conformist is happy following the already set patterns. So that is what it is. Now we come to the next slide. Sorry. So we will discuss how to, if we want to come out of these situations, what exactly can we do? So if we consider ourselves as a go-to person or a problem solver, we may find it difficult to ask for help when we are struggling in our own life. So what happens, these are all part of burnout that can happen, because we are viewed by people around us as someone, oh, very strong, we can approach this person anytime we want. This particular person will solve our problems. So what happens is, how do you come out of this problem solver mask is when you actually show, you can actually show that you're vulnerable when you're actually vulnerable. Letting go of fixing others' problems and instead enable them to solve their own problems. Work on being open to receiving ideas from others and asking for support. May not be very easy for a person who is seen as always a strong person, but when it is overburdening us, if we adopt these little tips here, if you are able to shed the mask and tell others in a way that they understand, they will be able to come out of this problem solver mask. Then if we are wearing the mask of a perfectionist. So always a perfectionist wants perfection around them, and anything out of its place can cause a lot of mental trauma to the person. So how do we come out of this? So when consciously we decide is good enough. So a person continues to work on a project until it becomes perfect. They don't really know where exactly to draw the line of perfection. So something is good enough is okay to present. Then focusing on completing the projects and having timelines and reframing failure or criticism as a feedback and an opportunity for growth. Being open to other ideas. These are some of the tips one a perfection can actually adopt to come out of the perfectionist mask that he or she might wear. So I actually have, while doing a bit of research for this mask that we wear, I came upon a beautiful poem, or prose poem, let me call it, by Charles Finn and narrated by Dr. Ray. So I would like to play this and please listen to it very beautifully.
Please hear what I'm not saying. Don't be fooled by the face I wear, for I wear 1,000 masks, and none of them are me. Don't be fooled, for God's sake, don't be fooled. I give you the impression that I'm secure, that confidence is my name, and coolness my game, and that I need no one. But don't believe me. Beneath dwells the real me in confusion, in fear, in aloneness. That's why I create a mask to hide behind, to shield me from the glance that knows. But such a glance is precisely my salvation. That is, if it's followed by acceptance, if it's followed by love, it's the only thing that can liberate from my own self-built prison walls. I'm afraid that deep down I'm nothing, and that I'm just no good, and that you will see this and reject it. And so begins the parade of masks. I idly chatter to you. I tell you everything that's really nothing, and nothing of what's everything, of what's crying within me. Please listen carefully and try to hear what I'm not saying. I'd really like to be genuine and spontaneous and me. But you've got to help me. You've got to hold out your hand. Each time you're kind and gentle and encouraging. Each time you try to understand because you really care. My heart begins to grow wings. Very evil wings, but wings. With your sensitivity and sympathy and your power of understanding, you alone can release me from my shadow world of uncertainty, from my lonely present. It will not be easy for me. The nearer you approach me, the blinder I may strike back. But I'm told that love is stronger than strong walls. And in this lies my hope, my only hope. Please try to beat down these walls with strong hands, but gentle hands. for a child is very sensitive. Who am I, you may wonder? I am someone you know very well. For I am every man you meet, and I am every woman you meet. And I am you also.
So this is the poem that I really liked, and I thought it should be part of this. 1 second, just hold on.
You know, Maya Angelou has been my most steadfast counselor.
Please hear what I'm not.
So now here in this poem, one thing I would like to project differently, when this person is talking about you be kind to me, as long as you're kind, you're understanding, you hold my hands. This is all seeking outside support. That is fine if it comes by. If you find someone really empathetic towards you and able to give you that support, it's all fine. But then imagine that you is we ourselves. Suppose we are providing that kindness to ourselves, providing that empathy to ourselves, providing this understanding to ourselves, we are able to hold our own hands and pull ourselves out of wherever we are, then that becomes that much more powerful. And we become the powerhouse to ourselves. We are self-dependent. That is when we are able to sustain the support that we can give ourselves for a longer period of time. So this is what I felt towards the end. So I thought I'll just put across my thought to you all. And when he's saying a child, he's referring to a child. So I thought it should be an inner child, not a child who you're seeing outside of you. So there is always a child within us who actually wants appreciation, approval, recognition. All these things are there within us. So if you are able to really give that support to oneself, that is a beautiful relationship that we can forge for ourselves, and probably we can be very authentic. We can lead a very authentic life without being aggressive. So I would like to give an activity to all of you. Please take your A4 sheets, pen or pencil. Are you all ready? So if you all are ready, I would request you to draw the outline of a face on one side of the sheet. Try to fill in the entire sheet with the outline of your own face. And mention any 3 masks that you generally wear. You have had a preview to all the masks that we generally wear, and write down the benefits that you're reaping from wearing those masks. You need not share with anybody in this forum. It is only for your own self-learning, or maybe improve your self-awareness. So don't fear that you have to share it in this forum. But if anybody wishes to, they can. Are you all with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So please tell me once you're done. Maybe I'll give you some 2-3 minutes to do this. Once you're finishing with one side of the sheet of the paper, please let me know.
Could you please share your contact number?
Yeah, it's there in the WhatsApp, the group.
Go ahead, Haru. Go ahead.
Yeah. Now, once you've written down the mask that you generally wear, and I'm not excluded from this as well. I'm part of this as well. So then you turn the page, the back side, and again draw the outline of the face. Have there been any burnouts or downsides to having worn this mask? Please write them down too. You need to make an honest assessment. And also answer the question, do you want to continue to be so? Or would you like to come out of the situations or wearing that particular mask which is not serving you anymore? If you want to come out of it, are there any obstacles to removing that particular mask that is not serving you? Are there any irrational fears? Do you fear the unknown? What could be your challenges? See, wearing any sort of mask ultimately leads to being a victim or a martyr.
Aru,
Yes, Akka?
one question from me.
Yeah,
See, people will not wear the same mask all the time.
correct.
Okay. Depending on the situation, it will be changing
Very
according to
true.
the need of the person or depending on the situation and all.
Correct. Correct.
And sometimes wearing mask cannot be taken as negative. Suppose
Yeah, tell me.
Suppose if in a very odd time somebody comes to my house, I may
Mhm.
be tired.
Yes.
I don't want any guests at home.
Mhm.
But even then, without
Mhm.
knowing that, they may enter.
Correct.
See, instead of showing my what you call negative feeling at
Mhm.
that point of time, not because of them coming, but
Mhm.
because of my situation.
Correct.
So instead of showing that, if I show some patience
Mhm.
and be pleasant with them,
Mhm.
both the sides, we will end up with a pleasant feeling
Correct.
after they leave.
Correct.
Also, do you call it as wearing a mask? If it is so, yes. But by wearing that, I am also gaining, the other people are also gaining
True.
in a
And it all,
positive
see,
way.
either it is working towards your mental happiness or against your mental health. So as long as you're able to do it, it's fine. But there may be a time when you're not able to do it, and when it comes to a position that you're not just able to entertain anybody at any given time, you probably will take the steps to inform your near and dear who might actually come.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
That way, what is happening? You are actually productively, proactively making sure that you're not hurting anybody in that situation.
Yeah. I
So
can
that
explain
way-
the situation. Yeah.
So that way,
Tell me.
what are you doing? You are actually willing to take off that mask of pleasing people. That is a
Yeah.
people pleasing mask, right? You don't want
I know.
everything to say, no, you can't enter my house just now. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
what are you doing? You're taking precautions so that you will not hurt them, as well as not be, in a way, you're also keeping yourself happy.
Yeah.
Right? So that is the steps one can take.
Yeah.
If it, and generally it is the people that are near and dear to you who can actually walk in any time that they want, right? Because
Yes,
they have
yes.
done it in the past.
Hmm.
So if that person is near and dear to you, probably that person will actually understand. If in the past this lady has allowed me to come anytime, if she's actually telling me that she's not able to entertain me for some time at least, then they probably will be, good enough to understand your situation.
Yeah. At the same time, even in close relationships also, sometimes you have to wear a mask, whether you like it or you don't like it, to maintain the relationships. Sometimes, not all the times and all the way.
See, along the
Sometimes
way,
in some situations.
yeah, along the way, we need to decide. I mean, as long as we are able to perform the way society expects us to perform. So we have this saying, Atiti Devo Bhava. So whatever, this is social conditioning, right? So we don't like to hurt our guests who come in to see us, or, ask our welfare, well-being, sometimes forge closer bonds, all these things.
Yeah.
We won't like to actually disrupt our relationship. But if a situation arises, we are not able to do that, then it is important that we let them know in a non-aggressive manner. So
Yeah,
our
one should have,
relationship doesn't crack.
I know, one should have that much of strength to say,
Yeah.
sometimes in a proper way, rather.
Yeah, true.
That is good.
That is how we need to take care. That is also, if that relationship or people are important in our life, we need to take that step, right?
I know. And I appreciate your talk, Aru.
Thank you so much.
It is very good and very knowledgeable.
Thank you so much.
Okay, ma. Thank you.
So all of you have completed the activity?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, 1 minute. I'll try to come out of sharing so I can see you all. 1 second. So anybody got any insights that you already not know, or kind of validating your own insights or understanding that you already had of yourself? If
Yeah,
anybody,
ma'am. It was a wonderful session.
yeah.
We thoroughly enjoyed. I think we can go for QA. Yeah, Anita, ma'am, you can take questions.
How much time do we have? We are at 7:40.
Yeah, it's already we exceeded, ma'am.
Yeah, you let me know if it's okay with you. Maybe 1 or 2 questions, then we can.
Yeah,
wind up.
1 or 2 questions we can allow.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we have Sai Subbarao, sir. Please go ahead, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, ma'am, it's an excellent session. Referring to the issue Madam Pramila Devi has raised,
Yeah.
I have a view like this. So long as you wholeheartedly invite the guest, even if it is late in the night, it doesn't amount to wearing a mask at all.
Yes.
And if at all you put up on appearances, you put up a pretense, then it might end up at that moment the guest getting pleased and go away. But you keep burning yourself inside. What kind of a fellow is this? He comes late in the night, disturbs me. And if I usually sleep at 10:30, I will not be able to sleep till 2 o'clock. Next time, how do I tell him? Then the mask comes into the picture. As long as you're in a position to invite them with all the your mind and heart getting reconciled to it, it won't amount to wearing a mask. I do not know whether I'm right.
Right. So if you're unable to, for some reason, unable to share with that particular person in a non-aggressive way, if that relationship is important to you, and if that person is able to receive it, you'll be successful in keeping the relationship and yet having the goal of not allowing that person to come to you at any time he pleases. Right?
So the issue is I need to deal with myself at that moment of time.
Exactly, exactly.
You
So
may not be able to tell the guest.
So do you have the resources to deal with yourself? That's what
That's
you
exactly
need to
the
examine.
issue. Yes.
Yes.
As long as I have the resources, as
Yes.
long as I'm in a position to manage myself,
Yeah.
as long as I'm in a position to not wounding myself as a result of that situation,
Correct.
perhaps, I take control of myself and it won't amount to wearing a mask at all.
Correct. Correct.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.
Sunanda, let us go for the vote of thanks.
Yeah.
Ma'am,
Yes, sir.
thank you for a wonderful session. And with your kind permission, may I request Dr. Archana to go ahead.
Can I go ahead with vote of thanks,
Dr.
ma'am?
Archana?
Yeah, Archana, please go ahead.
Sure.
I want to give a big shout out to Arundhati ma'am for her extraordinary session and activity work, which took us on a fantastic journey to uncover the numerous masks we wear every day. This class has inspired us to become more self-aware and reflective about our various identities. By acknowledging and embracing these masks, we can identify times when we might feel exhausted and find ways to better nurture ourselves. I also extend my heartfelt thanks to the amazing participants and the dedicated team coordinator on behalf of Deccan Positive Mental Health and in association with Yellow Pond India, Forest Creative Arts Studio, Punjab, Sri Deepthi Counseling Center, Hyderabad, Clover Learning Center, Hyderabad, Srisha Counseling Center, Kozhikode, and Mind Style Hub, Kolkata. We sincerely appreciate all your contributions. Your dedication has been instrumental in furthering our cause, and for that, we are truly thankful. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you so
friends.
much. Thank you so much for being part of this presentation. I really loved presenting it, and I hope you really loved being part of the presentation. Thank you very much, Sunanda ji, and everyone else included in this. Thank you.
Thank you, Arakka. It was lovely. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Babu. Good night. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, ma'am. Good night, all.
Bye.
Good night, Aru.
Bye. Bye, Akka.
Bye, Aru. It's a wonderful presentation. I enjoyed thoroughly.
Thank you. Thank you, Jyotika.
Thank you and bye-bye.
Feedback link was given or not?